Welcome to Open Mic Neurostyle. I'm your host, Bill Nissom. This forum enables you, the audience, to share information about neuro breakthroughs and innovations in this industry. The universe of neurotreatments is vast, and we hope to introduce you to a wide assortment of therapies, technologies, and treatments. In this episode, we are joined by Rajai Kaldani, who is an advocate of frequency-based therapies. Welcome, Rajai.
Thank you, Bill. Glad to be here.
Please tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was I've been working in the corporate world for about 20 years prior to getting involved in what I'm doing now with frequency-based medicine. But I was introduced to it about 5 years ago, and I became so passionate about what I experienced myself and what I saw with people that I eventually quit my corporate job and moved on. And now I do this full time as an independent advocate of this type of technology. So
Nice, excellent. Well, let me ask you a pretty good opening question here. How did you get involved with this type of work?
Oh, wow. For me, it was, I kind of stumbled into it, and it started with really just my own health. One evening, I came across this type of technology, and so I tried it that night, and I was a little skeptical and really wasn't sure what I was working with. But I tried this frequency-based device, which, by the way, is a Class 2 cleared medical device with the FDA. And I didn't feel anything. It was a very short session, but I went home and I went to bed and I woke up 4 hours later feeling fantastic. So I knew something had changed. And so I started to look into it. That got me really curious. I eventually purchased my own device, started using it daily and so I became very passionate about the product and started sharing it with people. And I eventually quit my job. I had been there for 11 years and went out on my own and started doing this full time.
Nice. A question that would probably come up from our viewers would be, what type of transformations have you personally seen with this type of technology that causes you to want to share this with the world? Like, what's driving this passion for you?
Oh my God. I mean, it's so amazing. I mean, it's funny that you asked that. I just had a client actually reach out to me yesterday, actually. And her sister has a severe chronic degenerative disease that has been plaguing her for many, many years. And she's in a tremendous amount of pain. And she purchased a device from me, and she wanted to share the experience that her sister had. And so she was in a tremendous amount of pain throughout her whole body, but specifically in her spine. And so this particular product has a chronic pain program. And so her sister hooked her up, and within 10 minutes, she starts to cry because she's completely pain free. And she can't remember the last time that she was pain free from just applying a frequency to the body.
That's amazing. That's quite a testimonial. So now that kind of leads me into the question. The obvious question is, well, just give us the basics of like, how does this work?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because a lot of people aren't really familiar with this kind of technology. But essentially, everything has a frequency to it. Our thoughts have a frequency. We put out a field. Our heart puts out a field. Our brain puts out a field. Every cell in your body has a charge to it. So we're essentially electrical beings, and everything has a frequency to it. And so there's something called bioresonance. And so what we're doing is we're passing or applying a frequency that's going to bioresonate with either cells or systems within the body to upregulate those systems, just to kind of support those systems. So think of like a tuning fork. So if you have two tuning forks close to each other, and if you hit one, and it'll start to vibrate, and the other tuning fork will start to resonate with the first tuning fork. And so that's what we're doing. So it's something called bioresonance. And I really do believe this is the future of medicine, is utilizing frequencies to address issues that maybe you challenges that maybe uh, being able weren't addressable through traditional means per se. And so it's a non-invasive, holistic way of really treating the body. And so it's really, really interesting.
Interesting. So I guess as a closing question, I would want to try to understand, why would people want to consider this as an alternate therapy, and how would you classify a typical user? Is there a spectrum of ailments that people would, that this might address?
So the two products that I currently market, one of them is already it's already been cleared as a class 2 medical device with the FDA for arthritis pain, both chronic and acute.
Hmm.
And the other device is a vascular therapy. So if you have lymphatic or vascular issues, then it's a great product for microcirculation and blood flow. But generally speaking, what we find, or at least what I find, is people with chronic conditions really gravitate towards these types of products because it actually gives them relief, where maybe traditional means have not been able to do so. But a lot of people that are maybe dealing with anxiety, depression, pain's a big one for a lot of people. But athletes also would really be interested in this kind of technology because it helps with recovery and wound healing. And so, really, the net that we can cast is very, very wide. But what I find is usually it's people that have a serious condition that they've been dealing with for a while, and they're looking for other ways of addressing those conditions. They will be open to something like this, and obviously people with pain.
Great. Well, I appreciate you sharing this. As I said in the beginning or the opening, that this industry is very vast, and there are not just one solution, but there's multiple approaches. So, with that said, we definitely appreciate you, Rajai, coming on the show today. If you would like to speak to Rajai about this technology, his contact information is noted below with other links. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Open Mic Neuro.